And I think we're living in a moment now where people are seeking out experiences that remind us that we're human. I think that's part of what this is about on a deeper, more foundational level, is that all these analog films, all the sort of analog resurgence that's happening right now is just connecting us back to what it means to be human. If you don't have the ability to project a film, then you don't have the ability to experience a major component of a medium that was, one of the defining mediums of the 20th and 21st century. What happens when you're seeing a film that's projected on 70mm film is that you're looking at a film that is usually either 1 or 2 generations away from the original camera negative, which means that light hits an actor's face, exposes the negative. That negative is then used to make a contact print. That print is then projected for an audience, right? So you're seeing something that already has added clarity, added analog color, right? You're looking at a full reproduction of color from the original source negative that was used to actually make the original art object of the film itself. You're gonna get to see the film in the way the filmmaker intended for it to be seen. For most people, that added sense of immersion, that added connection to the process that the filmmakers brought to bear to be able to bring their vision to you is worth seeking out these formats and specialty venues to be able to see them, like what we're doing here at the Alex.
Moving into cinema, this idea of what we're doing right now, it started brewing because of so many people that I met who told me as children they saw movies here. And because of the grand history of the Alex. And because of the reemergence of repertory cinema, of large format film, and the audiences that are flocking to these kinds of entertainment choices now, I'm like, we should do that too.
When you go to a theater and you have a 4-mile piece of plastic that's got about 200,000 images on it, and those 200,000 images get strung together to tell a story, and you have this one continuous strip of film that runs through the projector, and this sort of magic music box lantern and brings the whole thing to life, who couldn't help but be enchanted by that?
Taylor and I like the term reclamation. There's a reclamation of our identity as a place for real cinema to happen.
You would be hard-pressed to find a better opportunity to reintroduce a 1925 historic venue to the Los Angeles movie-going public than a Christopher Nolan movie. And so I talked to Universal about the possibility of, look, I know that it's April, and I know that we are 2.5 months out from the release of the Odyssey. But in the future, if we were going to convert and have 70mm film here, is this a venue that you guys would consider using for large format special engagement releases? And they said, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is definitely a theater that we would look at if you guys wanted to make that kind of conversion. I then sent them some photos of the theater and talked to them a little bit more about the history, and they called me back 10 minutes later and said, look, Taylor, if you think that you can get 70 up and running there by July, we will do our absolute best to get you a print of the Odyssey. And so I talked to Miles, and we pulled out all the stops, and we have put in 70mm film projection here in 5.5 weeks. What you do is you take a year worth of work and you find a way to parallel structure it so that everything that would normally be happening sequentially just happens all in parallel. So I say just, but it's a complete time compression to take 1 year's worth of work and bring it all the way down to about 5.5 weeks. We put in a brand new sound system here. We have built a new projection booth down at the orchestral level, so we get a nice flat down angle. We brought in changeover 35mm, 70mm dual gauge projectors and a platter system so that we can run first run special engagement films off of a platter system and do both reel-to-reel archival prints and also first run on a platter. And we've already started doing acoustical treatment in the auditorium, which is going to continue after this engagement to sort of fill out the rest of the acoustics in here and really plus it up.
I am a strong believer in like a community of collaborators, like I've said before, and I've got that here in the live sense, and those pillars, dance, comedy, music, and now cinema becoming like a primary almost, right? And I think that we're going to continue to do first run. I think that we are going to do repertory. I think we're going to do special screenings with actors, directors on stage talking about them. We want to like put ourselves into the mix with all those smaller venues and allow the audiences of LA, the East Side especially, to come into the Alex and see, oh, this is a new place I can go and have this experience. And I think that here it will actually be kind of elevated. I think that we have the possibility of elevating that experience.
The thing that's great about all these old analog films, a lot of them haven't even been converted into digital. There are a lot of films that the studios have that haven't even been digitized. And what's fun about projecting some of these films is that there are ghosts inside these rolls of film. There are ghosts in there. There's the real memories of real people are living inside these films, and you need a projectionist to bring those to life. It's easy to forget that everything that's happening with cinema grew out of shows. It's like the art of the show. It all comes out of a really rich tradition of vaudeville, right? The projectionist is now, in these kinds of environments, like the last performer. It's the last performer. There used to be hundreds of people on stage, chorus, riggers, stagehands, all the rest of it. It's the whole part of a live show, right? And we decide, okay, we're going to take all that, we're going to film it. And we're going to take the film, we're going to present it to an audience, but we still need one last performer who's actually able to take that film and present it to the audience in the way that they should see it. That's the projectionist.